Welcome Ken from Martyrium.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm alone today, but all the band would have loved to be here.
Yeah.
But they couldn't make it, so I'll be doing the talking, not just on their behalf, but with you and about the band and what's been going on, what's coming up, and please feel free to ask whatever you want to ask.
Thank you so much. We're happy to have you. Can you please introduce yourselves?
So, I'm Ken. I play with Martyrium, I do the drums. Not just maybe the drums, take all part into the composing, into the writing, into the lyrics, into the writing of the songs. And Martyrium works very closely together as a band to try to get a global perspective of the band members together. So whenever an album is being worked upon, the contribution is not just from the musical side. There's also kind of everyone puts a bit of himself or herself, in our case, into the music, and that's what maybe makes Martyrium, like through the years, has been evolving and shifting through times and styles, always getting more contemporary. So when it comes to Martyrium, it's not just maybe we categorize as symphonic black metal, or sometimes from the older albums as black and death metal, and from the early days maybe as old school death metal, but that's just a reflection of the times that we're going through, the different members that have been through the bands. Like Martyrium has been going on for 20 years now, 20 years plus. And of course, we have changed, we have grown up with the band has grown up with us, it's part of us and we're part of the band. So nowadays it's a good place to be together. We just had an album out in the heart of the pandemic, which was in March 2020. And of course now we're working towards the next, which will be released maybe later this year or maybe early next year.
Okay, very nice. You were talking about your lyrics. Can you tell us a bit what inspires you when you write these lyrics? I mean, you live in a religious country.
Yes, when it comes to the religious aspect, I wouldn't say that we are influenced by Malta or the country itself, because Malta is quite a conservative and religious country. And of course we grew up into it, but there again, it's not that, of course it has affected us, because the surroundings always shape you when you're growing up, not just with music, like your personal growth and everything, but it's not something that really influences us, like to write music, and it's not the concept of our music. Our music is of a much more personal nature to ourselves than our surroundings. You asked me about the religious stuff. I don't know. When it comes to the religious stuff, of course, Martyrium is categorized as a black metal band, and there's always a religious aspect which is kind of tied with black metal. But that doesn't have to be necessarily a standard. Black metal is not just a religion or an anti-Christian feeling or an anti-like dogma feeling. It's a way of thought, a way of doing things, it's a way of living your life, which finally transcends and transpires through your music. So black metal to us is not just like an opposition concept against religion. It's more like a personal projection of ourselves, of our innermost, of what or who we really are, against what we are in the, let's say, everyday normal society, which has become today, basically. And there are some religious aspects which are kind of explored in the music, of course, because that's part of our life, that's part of this society, that's part of what we go through, but it's not necessarily embedded to be totally like of a religious or anti-religious kind of sentiment.
Great. But if we talk a little bit about ideology, like Satanism, how do you look upon that?
Like as a band, we do not have what we would call a concept or a message when it comes to our beliefs. There's no collective belief within the band, but there are, of course, individual beliefs which are merged together to produce, at the end of the day, the music. And I think that's quite important, because it's not 4 or 5 people like on the same train and going to the same place. Whenever a new song is written and a new concept is evolved or born out of the music, there are shades and aspects of it which are part of each of the members of the band. And as I said, everyone will answer that. We usually don't like to explain or it's through the music that what we feel or think or we believe really comes out and shines through. So whenever even we meet with nice people like us or like you or our fans, and we talk about these things, we usually focus on the music, because the music is what finally tells the message, and is what the best way for us to explain how we feel about such things. You know? And even the bands that we like or listen to or friends with, in a way, do the same thing. Won't mention names because there are many, but of course, interpretation of black metal from band to band, from time to time, from country to country as well, has been different. Has taken many shapes, and it has become very contemporary nowadays as well. Has stretched out and opened much more than it had in the past. So it's not just like black metal or the beliefs associated with black metal have become intrinsic and part of this style. They have been amplified, they have been explored, they have evolved together with the music and the times, and I think that's a very positive and healthy thing for the scene and for black metal itself.
Right. So if we talk a bit about the music, then the musical inspiration, what has inspired you in your music?
When it comes to our music, what has inspired us, of course, the bands which we grew up with. Again, I am usually not keen to mention bands because there have been many throughout the years, and of course I've been listening to and playing since I was in my early teens, and that's quite a stretch nowadays. I've come a long way, so yes, of course, I'm coming from the old school part, or like the good old bands which have started it all. There's no need to mention who they are. Everyone knows. They have influenced maybe not my playing in the early days, but I've been through many different bands and styles and difference, not just black metal as it is nowadays. But deep down, it was always kind of where I knew that I would end up being my preferred vehicle of choice when it comes to writing and playing music. When it comes to music from Martyrium nowadays, there have been 5 albums out in the past 20 years, and each album has been an incarnation of different phases, like I said earlier, and the times when they came out. So an album that came out in 1999, the style was completely different, I would say. Not maybe completely, but the elements are still there. That they have just changed and been adjusted through the years to sound like they should in 2022.
It's evolution. So, I mean,
it's evolution, and again, it's healthy, because every band which grows up, and of course, you listen to different bands, different styles. You're going through different times and places in your life, and the music is something you carry with you and which evolves with you. So we are looking forward now to deliver the 6th album, which will be something which has kind of every aspect of the albums which have passed, has every aspect and has been influenced by all the bands which we've grew up listening to, and which will finally take place and be kind of a legacy to all this past, And that's, I think, an integral part of Martyrium as well, which there has never been a kind of, we are going to do this style, we're going to follow that, no. When it comes to composing something fresh, new, contemporary, we sit together, put our heads together, work together, and at the end of the day, the result is collective. And that's how we like to work, and that's probably the only way how we know how to work nowadays.
Yeah. So many bands we have talked to mentioned this with the pandemic, how it has affected them and so on. So, I mean, how have you now re-healed after the pandemic?
We're still healing, actually.
Yeah.
It was shocking because we had, not shocking just for us in general, everyone who had been working hard to get the set going and book the shows and be hyped up to, it was a big shock because suddenly all the plans, they first got shelved and then they got scrapped.
Yeah.
Because at first it was like, okay, this will be temporary, okay, this will take 6 months, okay, this is stretching to next year. So you never really know if you should stop and wait, keep trying or hoping, start working on your stuff. We're a bit of in a limbo, which we couldn't know how long it would last. And uncertainty is a very bad thing for a band because you cannot plan and you don't know where and how to shift your energies. Finally, it looks like we're getting out of it and we're booking shows again. We have already some shows booked for this year. We're very much looking forward to them because it's been a while. And I'm sure anyone who, not just bands and those who play, but even festival goers and people who follow the scene, it kinds of finally fresh breath of air, and we're going back to our the so-called old lives.
Yeah.
And this is exciting. It's very exciting, and I'm sure that it will be great. But it will be different as well because, as we were saying, it's been some time. So, kind of, Martyrium's last show was almost 3 years ago, just before the pandemic. It was in the UK. We just got back from the UK. As soon as we got back from here, we found that the pandemic had just kind of exploded everywhere. And we were like, first next month we have a show that got cancelled, next, and so on. It became a saga that was the pandemic, coronavirus pandemic. And we're very, very happy and glad to be rid of that and go back to what we love doing most.
Yeah. So, are you gonna go back on tour?
Not a tour for the time being. We're just we have actually plans for touring. They have not been concretized as yet. We're booking one-off shows for now and solidifying ourselves again. And then when we're comfortable and happy, we'll be more than glad then go back to the touring thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can imagine. And that's where you belong on stage, of course.
Yes, of course, of
Coming
course.
out with your music. We are talking a little bit about ideologies, and our movie is a lot about what's in the mind of music. There are people that work with this extreme metal music and how important the ideology is. And I was just wondering if you, like I said, Malta is a great religious place, and have you met any resistance or threats or experienced something regarding your opinions or your ideologies or your music, your expression?
There were times, yes, of course. There's been in the past, not with me, but like 8 or 9 years ago, like the guys had a gig, a local gig here with Rotting Christ, and when it started being advertised, of course, because of the name, there was a huge uproar because again, Malta being such a conservative place, and the name Rotting Christ suddenly being on billboards and posters on the news, some shockwaves. And everyone was, of course, also looking who are these guys from Malta, because, of course, it's underground, it's black metal, so it's not mainstream. Most people will not know about you unless they follow the scene or are fans of the scene. But of course, being on the same bill as Rotting Christ and sharing the same poster and name, and everyone was like, oh, what the hell?
So
And,
do you feel like you were a bit exposed then? Like,
no, it doesn't make a... Well, I wasn't with the band at the time, but of course I was before with the band, and then that was a spell where I was not playing with them, but I was still close with the band, and we were still friends when we talked. The band was not affected in any way because of such a thing. I mean, them, us, we nowadays, we don't really care about what other people think or how they interpret such stuff. So the problem, it's theirs maybe, probably it's no one's problem whatsoever. So,
but were they able to perform the gig?
yes, but the venue cancelled because they didn't want to be associated with something which might be a bit controversial, because here, of course, if such a thing happens in a place, the place will get stigmatized. So there were some problems with relocating and reshifting and rejuggling the whole thing, but it did happen in the end, and it was fine, and it was a fantastic gig. I was there, and it was worth every minute. Of course, a show with Rotting Christ is always one of my favorite bands to see live.
Can you live on your music, or?
Oh, well, no, not with this band, not with living with your music nowadays. It's a kind of a unicorn.
Yeah.
We can't. I've played with other bands in the past, but it was commercial stuff, and there was some money involved at some point, and I wouldn't call it making a living out of it, unless you're really huge and you can dedicate all your time to it, and invest everything you have. It's very difficult nowadays, especially after the pandemic, because the pandemic has reshuffled the cards for everyone. Shows have got smaller, traveling has become harder, the monetary element has become more of an issue. I wouldn't say that before the pandemic hit it was easy or even doable probably, but after the pandemic I think that has become quite close to impossible. Now, impossible is not a word that I enjoy using, but there again, unless you're totally and fully dedicated and you can just put all your time and energy into a band and make it work, not just as a band and as a musical project, as a business as well, because at the end of the day, there has to be a return if you want to put all your time into it. So, no, I wouldn't. For Malta, that will never happen. It's too small, close, and it's an island in the middle of the Mediterranean. There are no big shows, big clubs going on here, so you have to do everything, of course, abroad and not in-house. So, but I would say that every band has the same problem, or would answer the same way that I'm doing when it comes to the monetary or the full-time aspect of being in a band nowadays.
So how do you yourself experience the metal scene here in Malta?
The metal scene in Malta is small. It's healthy, but it's small. I don't know if you're familiar with other bands from Malta. There's a cluster of different styles, but of course, given the size, the amount of bands is proportional. But then again, the bands over here, they get a lot of exposure and they pull and push themselves out a lot. Sometimes when you come from a kind of adverse background, that kind of fuels you and helps you to like get even the most out of it, of the little that you've got. So although the scene is very small, I consider it to be very healthy and varied as well. I would not be mentioning other guys or bands over here because if I miss out on someone, that wouldn't be nice of me. But I'm quite confident that the Maltese have some quality to offer to the international scene, and they have showed it in the past, and they will be showing it again very soon. The final words will be see you on the road, see you at the next album.
Thank you so
and
much.
welcome back to everything that we've been missing for so long now.
Yeah, great words. And thank you so much, Ken, for joining us.
Thank you. It's been lovely.
Thank you. And then hold it again like that. Take a picture.
Matte and sometimes mobiles. It's not the perfect match. I mean,
You're more used to with the cellular than the mobile, aren't you? Haven't touched mine in ages, actually. I don't even know where it is.
This stuff I know.
yeah, but this.
But this is.
Oh, I know.
I have to help him all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Lovely.
much.
Thank you.